What is up, Nintendo Land? Welcome to Nintendo Open Air Podcast. With a chill in the air, snow on the ground, and the holidays just around the corner, it's time for some official forecasts. Of course, we're not talking about weather forecasts or Black Friday sales forecasts. We're talking about Nintendo's holiday forecast. Japanese analysts say Nintendo is lacking momentum, while Reggie himself claims Nintendo is very well positioned. And of course, what would the holidays be without forecasted shortages? So put away the Black Friday ads, set a timer for the turkey, because this holiday season has just begun. Alright, tonight we start with word from Japan, as recent predictions from Japanese stock market index, Nikkei, has surfaced regarding Nintendo's holiday season. According to them, Nintendo is, quote, lacking momentum heading into the holidays. And while the last financial report is pretty strong, the best-selling games were all released in 2017, and there are no explosive Switch titles as it goes into the holidays. I think we can all pretty much agree with their analysis of the holiday this year.
Yeah, that's was it you that told me their stock dropped 10% on the launch day of Let's Go? Like that's pretty depressing, man. That's just they blew it. They blew their wad the first 6 months of the Switch, and they got nothing to follow it up.
I don't know. I don't think Pokemon Let's Go is going to be a complete bust. It does seem to be getting some. I wouldn't put it in the explosive category, though. I do think that from what I'm hearing, Smash might be, though. Smash seems to be getting more hype on every site that I've seen by far than the Let's
Yeah,
Go.
and Smash always gets the hype, but the thing is it didn't like it, this is recycled hype from the Wii U period, though. You know.
That's true. We did get a little bit of information regarding Smash Ultimate specifically, and that is that Amazon has sold out of pre-order copies. So, and of course, since it's been announced, it has been #1 in video games. So maybe there is some legitimacy to the claim that it's doing good. And I don't know.
You know how selling out of pre-orders works, though.
That's true. Sold out today, in stock tomorrow. But yeah.
Like things like the My Nintendo wish list, I looked at the highest ranking ones that people were voting for on there, and the top two were the Smash Brothers video game and the Smash Brothers console Switch bundle. And Let's Go Eevee, I think, was like fourth, Pikachu was fourth. Eevee didn't make the list at all in any form. Those two barely scratched the surface of the top, five.
Yeah. And the other half of this claim coming from Nikkei is that the Switch is languishing in the West, as it says. And I say that this is mostly due to, they're basing this on that US retailers are selling Switch bundles with half-price games, which we know that Nintendo is really pushing the bundles this holiday, and that everyone is secretly looking forward to Sony's next console. So, I don't know.
We'll see how it goes. I mean, they are offering better incentives this year. Last year they had nothing in terms of,
True.
well-priced bundles or sales. I'm starting to see a little bit more of that this year, so it might pick up a bit, but time will tell.
I'm predicting doom and gloom, man. I like I said, I think they've lost their momentum pretty clearly to me. Smash will bring in some money, but just feeling like the Wii U all over again. People have lost interest, right? we talked about this too. The impulse buys and stuff like that, people couldn't get it at first. So,
Yeah.
those very short term impulse purchasers, those were lost on the fact that you couldn't get it right at launch. Then by the time they were available, yeah, okay, Mario and Zelda are out, and that's it. So if you're not a Nintendo fan, as usual, if you're not a Nintendo fan, then there's really nothing for you on Nintendo's console, you know, except
Right.
ports of stuff that you can get, better elsewhere. I'm sorry to say, that's just we're back in the same boat again.
Yeah, I have noticed. I've mentioned this before, but I did notice that Sony has a deal on their PlayStation 4, and it seems like I'm seeing a lot more coverage of that than I am of any of the Switch's bundles or the Switch's sales. They're just there in the ads.
Hey, we've even talked about them, ourselves
Yeah,
amongst the circle. Like, oh, yeah, I might finally pick up a PS4. A couple of us have said that.
yeah, yeah. Well, it is tempting. And there was this little interesting aside here. Nintendo recently, I believe it was a video, and it was about how to safely transfer your Switch information from one Switch to another. So,
Yeah, I've been seeing those up on GameStop and stuff. There's full on ads that say trade in your original Switch for a fancy new, bundle, which just to get the dock. It's a little nuts, but someone out there must be doing it. Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt.
no, you hit exactly on what I was thinking. I just don't know who this is appealing to. I don't feel tempted at all to trade in my Switch.
I don't either, but
Mm.
how to divide that we're still uncertain of. But that would be a case where we'd have to, start shifting accounts around, figuring out how to manage that sort of thing. So it's timely in that sense, anyway.
That's a good point. I mean, it's going to be a complicated situation with Nintendo Switch Online too. I assume all of your accounts are on a family plan.
Yeah, they are. So that part would be covered anyway.
Hmm.
Too, what the games that they've chosen as special ones for, they're nothing that we're really interested in. We have the Smash one, but where's the Mario one? Where's the Zelda one?
Yeah.
Say the special Zelda one.
They didn't have those. They didn't have those prepped at launch. You know what I mean? It seemed like it took them a while. Like even just Mario Red Joy Cons were, that seemed like it was difficult for them to produce.
Yeah.
I don't get it. Like I'm right. We all figured we'd have multicolored switches and all sorts of fancy colored docks and whatever by now, didn't we? Like it's been almost 2 years, guys. Like
Pokemon got it, and it hasn't exactly driven excitement.
Yeah, well, but even then, Pokemon just got a full like a dock molded in plastic other than black, right? A Switch that actually has a case other than black. Like I kind of assumed that kind of stuff would be right in the pipe, but nothing.
Like Game Boy colors.
Yeah.
Or that one that was purple see-through. I had that one.
Or at least Joy-Cons like that. But right, we got that first round of fancy colored Joy-Cons. Now we got the Pikachu and Eevee diarrhea colors, and that's not much else.
Yeah.
Yeah, when they put out these Joy-Cons, and especially in the beginning when you had the neon versus the gray, and people were kind of, which side are you on and so forth. And then they had the neon yellow come out, and then you had these bright pink and green Splatoon colors.
Yeah.
And I was just waiting on when is the whole Switch going to come out? When are they releasing? I thought the Pokemon one would be perfect. Why is that thing not Pikachu yellow?
Yeah.
It's just plastic. Come on, Nintendo.
They're not pretty. I want prettier Switches.
Or at least have Pikachu on the back of the Switch itself. Or Pikachu.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That wouldn't be hard. That's just stickers or decals or whatever. But no.
It's interesting. I don't know. And of course, I have to bring up the other unlikely event, and is that they're bringing up all this about transferring for the inevitable Switch upgrade, Switch 2. Do you think that has anything to do with it, or strictly for the holiday bundles?
No, I think they're planning ahead for that.
Well, I mean, yeah, I could see that they're kind of putting the brakes on any sort of fancy hardware stuff because there is an immediate hardware refresh, and they kind of knew they needed it out of the gate. People are already complaining about them using the last gen processor. They've had to have changes because of security on it, So I can see all that.
That said, this is groundwork stuff. People are going to have to change consoles eventually, and as time goes on, more and more of them are going to have to do it for whatever reason. It's something they needed to get out there sooner rather than later anyway, so I'm surprised it took them this long.
That's true. This is something that really should have been on the Switch launch page or not long after launch, and it should have just been in the background, always there. That's a really good point. Alright, well, the other big prediction coming out of Japan is coming from a store called GEO. I don't know if it's pronounced GEO or GEO. It's a large Japanese retailer, and they are putting up notices in their store, and this was just prior to the launch of Pokemon Let's Go, that due to the rapid release of big titles of Pokemon Let's Go Pikachu and Pokemon Let's Go Eevee and Super Smash Bros. Ultimate, expect shortages on Switch. I don't know what they're thinking, and maybe it will be in Japan. I know Japan is a whole different area than us as far as availability.
Only expects shortages of Switches if Nintendo's playing games with, running scares.
Yeah.
This is not.
I know.
Go ahead, Barry.
I'm just saying, from my observations up here, I saw, starting a month ago, the store started stocking up, and yeah, I've seen some moving, but they're not, they haven't moved half their stock yet.
Yeah, I don't see empty cases like I used to. Stock disappearing, big stacks that are gone a week later. I don't see that. I see cases with plenty of stock. They had their chance last Christmas. They did okay. This Christmas, they just blew it. We'll see what Smash moves, and it'll move some, but Smash isn't gonna carry it on its own, and obviously Pokemon's not doing it. So, just disappointing to see.
Yeah, I haven't heard anything, just from media or just outside of the Nintendo circle, or even inside the Nintendo circle, really, of people saying, man, I want to get a hold of this Switch. I hope I'll be able to get it. And I don't know. I don't think it will be an issue. Even for these special editions, if they're not out right now, I think they will be soon. So, speaking of special editions, there was one that came up today, announced regarding Smash Ultimate, and that is there will be a Smash Brothers Amiibo box. And this is exactly what you thought it is. It's a giant box full of 63 Amiibo from the Smash series. It looks like it carries everything from the originals all the way up to the Piranha Plant, I believe was the latest edition. So it's up on Amazon Japan, so the orders open on December 7th, so we don't know if there was a release date or a price yet.
I'm really curious how much that's going to cost.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah, it's going to, that's something. I don't know if we'll get that in the States, but yeah.
I think there's a limited number of them. That would be interesting to get.
And as we were talking about before the podcast, when I brought this up, it's like, I just want the box. Can I have a box to store my Amiibo in?
Just a storage case for all the Amiibo, man. That would be amazing. But then I'd have that hole for Player 2 Cloud, and it would drive me insane.
It's like a hole in your soul right there.
Absolutely. A hole in it's a cardboard box, isn't it?
Yeah.
That's what they
It looks
call
like it.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what it looked like.
Labo, man. I can make one out of Labo.
There you go.
That would be the ultimate.
That level kit box for your amiibo.
Dude, I wonder if someone sells that. Like somebody probably will figure out how to laser cut the box for the big amiibo set and start selling it. I might buy one.
Yeah, I would definitely consider it.
Yeah, if Labo was
Those of us that
practical,
have enough amiibos. Oh, go ahead.
I said if Labo was practical, like, build your own storage cases or something like that. Yeah.
Yeah.
If
See, I just think you could take a box from like Christmas tree ornaments or something that's
That's
got
true.
a grid of holes like that and just start plugging them in. Most of those even have a see-through top, so you can see what's in at least most of them.
That's true. If you get after Christmas on clearance.
I think Barry may have just solved this Smash Brothers amiibo box. The other thing we talked about too is how many of them do you have to have before you say this is just wasting money to buy duplicates? More than 3? More than 5? I don't know.
Yeah.
I would say well, it depends on the cost, right?
No.
If it's a case of it's a good enough deal, which it's not going to be. If it's a good enough deal that the 5 amiibo you already bought, it's still cheaper than buying the rest at retail. Okay, but I have a feeling it's going to just be straight retail. And yeah, it's going to be right. There's how many people out there who want this don't already have several of these anyway. So I can't imagine a lot of these being sold.
Amiibos still retail at $12.99, right?
I think I don't know, man. Remember the Zelda ones were like $1 or $2 more?
I think they went up a little bit.
Well, if they were at $12.99, just to get it at retail price for the 63 amiibo from Smash, saying they just dropped it to $12.99 flat, that'd be $818. Wow. That's $1,000.
Be an even thousand then.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, you gotta pay for that poster.
Oh yeah, that's true.
And Mo says that the Japanese amiibo set is limited to only 50 being produced as well.
Oh, that's right. Comment from Twitch. So, yeah. Mo is not with us tonight. He had family obligations, but he is definitely checking us out. So if you're listening and you want to talk to Mo, go over there and harass him. He needs it.
Yeah, we could always use more Twitch viewers.
That's right. And go ahead and mention if you're also listening and you want to watch us on YouTube, but we're also live on YouTube. But we'll talk more about that later.
If there are only going to be 50 of them or something in that vicinity, they're probably going to number them too for collectors.
Oh, wow.
That's true. Yeah, they're going to be expensive.
Oh, all they got to do is get like Sakurai to sign the box. Wow. That'd be pretty amazing.
All they got to do.
All they got to do is make them. Somebody will buy them.
Yeah, that's 50 of them. Those will get sold. Yeah.
50 of them at $1,000 each. Some easy money. Plastic and cardboard.
I wonder.
Pennies to Nintendo, but I don't know who's actually putting that package together. Sorry, go ahead, Max.
I wonder if people start putting a package like that together for eBay or something.
If they're numbered in the top 10, the price will double. Number 1 will be 10 times the price.
Yeah.
Wow, that's a really interesting idea. I don't know. What about if it was box sets of smaller sets, like all of the Fire Emblem characters, all of the Pokemon? Would that be appetizing to anyone?
It would if I didn't already have them.
Elements of it would be, yeah.
Yeah, not me, but I could totally see that. Like if they put all the Pokemon Smash characters in a set for a deal, and then all the just for you, Jason, all the Fire Emblem ones.
Yeah.
That would be a big box set.
It would be a big box set.
It would.
But right,
Or even the random big fan of a smaller, not smaller in Smash series, like someone who's already collected the Animal Crossing figurines would, have to get the new Isabelle and Villager models to go with it, just to finish their set.
Yep.
Oh, wow.
maybe I could see. I don't think Nintendo will do it, but I could see that selling some people who were like, "Oh, I was only going to pick up Fox, but now they have Fox, Wolf, and Falco in a 3-pack. Oh, okay, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Especially a smaller set like that. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think maybe that the image of the Amiibo 3-pack for Animal Crossing that Toys R Us had like 50,000 units of that had its own separate shelf. Best Buy also has a nice, they like line the bottom of their shelves with them. Any Nintendo rep seeing that and reporting it. We've got, 250 of these at this store alone. Maybe that's a turn off to Nintendo. I don't know.
It's just the shelf space versus cost these days. It's just easier for to have them ordered online and shipped. Those kinds of small, discrete items.
Yeah.
Alrighty.
We sound extraordinarily depressed tonight.
Well, I know what the problem is. It's because you've brought up about Amiibo, and as we also talked about earlier, if you've got part of a set and you've got an unfinished set, and you think I need to get that, and you just reminded us all that we need to go get the new Animal Crossing Amiibo, which we all swore we were done with, and it's depressing.
Yeah, man. No, it's depressing on multiple levels. It's depressing the amount of money I've spent on these things.
Yeah.
It's depressing the amount of shelf space I'm taking up with them, and it's depressing that I am still missing Player 2 Cloud.
And I think as something like Pokemon, I picked up a couple of my favorites. I've got, Charizard and Mewtwo. I always thought that I'd like to pick up a Lucario or a Greninja, but I never saw them at an opportune time. I've passed on Jigglypuff so many times, it's not funny, And my son has Pikachu, of course, so there's a few of them there, but we're missing a bunch. So if they offered a Pokemon set, well, I don't know what I'd think of that.
I passed on Jigglypuff all those times. I passed on all the Pokemon. I love Pokemon, as you all know. I play quite a bit of it, and I don't have a single Pokemon amiibo.
Not even Charmander? He looks really cool.
Yeah, I know.
I have
him.
Charizard,
sorry.
Like this Charmander amiibo I don't have.
Anyway, well, let's move on to a joyous subject, and that is anytime Reggie speaks, it is a happy time for Nintendo Land. This guy I don't know where he got his training at, but they trained him well. So there's a couple of interviews that are really recent with The Verge and Kotaku. We'll be talking about both of those. So I'm just going to go through some of his quotes and then let us soak it in. So as for Reggie's opinion on the holiday momentum, this is his quote: "As we look at our momentum right now that we've been able to drive with Super Mario Party, as we look at Pokémon about to launch this Friday, Super Smash Bros. On December 7th, we believe we're exceptionally well positioned to drive through the holiday season to have a very strong quarter. That's the key for us." Driving with Super Mario Party.
Mm-hmm. Don't get me wrong, I've had a little fun with Super Mario Party, but I haven't heard any, big buzz about the numbers on Super Mario Party.
I think it was an effective appetizer, enough to get a couple people sort of talking, and that's about all it was.
I mean, again, the big gaping flaw in Mario Party was the lack of real online play.
Yeah.
Like that's the reason none of you guys bought it. I, occasionally have family gatherings and whatever. So for me, it made sense, and I picked it up. But like, did you, Barry?
No,
Hmm.
partially was just the timing. Um, Honestly, my family's been pretty occupied with Starlink, and we have played this most similar game we have. We've never had any of the other Mario Party games, so it's not a series we're familiar with. We did do a bit of the Animal Crossing one there. What was it called?
Amiibo
With
Festival.
the Amiibo Festival, and we've played that a few times. So I could see potentially getting on board. Just the timing didn't work out for us.
And Mario Party, I don't know about the recent ones, but on the older ones, I always had, good fun with it. And if I was going to be playing with other people, or if I had folks coming over for the holidays that wanted to play games, it would be more tempting to me. And I think that's what it is. It's kind of I guess he does have a bit of a point there. People that are having folks over like Z is, it's a good game to have on standby to play.
And it's the third fastest selling Mario Party game.
That's, yeah, that's right.
When my kids do feel like playing co-op, like they can do it for 2 players with Starlink. They can do it on Mario Kart. They've done that sometimes, and most recently they even broke out the Super Mario 3D World from on the Wii U there, and they were playing that again with 3 of them. So, there's other multiplayer games around too.
That's true.
Yeah.
That you can play online.
That is very true.
Is it still people to play with in person, or do you play online with other people? You have people to play with, in person, and you want it.
Well, and Nintendo, man, why make people choose?
Yeah.
Really? Why? Right? That's Nintendo.
With either you guys or with random strangers, I'd have it.
And that's going to be another thing with Smash too, because that's another multiplayer game, both locally and online. And we'll see how the online works for people who don't want to invest in extra cables and such to hardwire their internet connection.
Oh, I know how it'll be. There'll be plenty of people online without a stable connection. Honestly, I think even if everyone did go wired, I think it would still be a pretty rough experience with Smash, just based on previous titles.
Yeah, based on Splatoon 2.
Yep.
But Nintendo likes those multiplayer titles, and they've got a couple of them around, and they're still gonna keep doing them. But for some reason, certain ones they have more freedom with than others.
Yeah,
True.
that's true. All right. Well, Reggie also has a quote regarding availability this holiday. While Japan may be scared, Reggie says, "We've worked really hard to make sure that we have enough systems, enough accessories, and enough games for the holidays." So they've worked really hard on it.
Yeah.
You running out of Smash there?
Well, it might not necessarily mean in terms of new titles. They might just mean in terms of stocking their existing library of games so that people can find copies of them too. Because I've seen that too. Where they've been stocking up a lot of the older titles.
That's good.
Yeah, I mean, it's just right. They set low expectations. They did that on purpose. So now they can say, look, we've got all this stuff. Aren't we amazing? No, you're not. You just stop shorting it.
And Mo commented on Twitch that when Smash launches and it's laggy and Nintendo has no fix for it, they're done. This is a big leak, and people are actually going to buy the Smash as opposed to the Wii U version. The storm is coming.
That it is.
Yeah, I don't know. They got $20 out of all of us a few months ago.
Yep.
So they sure as hell better not have a bad online play experience.
Yeah, hopefully they're working on it right now. Getting everything ready.
Unless they really, wow and distract from it as more details come out of the single player thing. I don't know. It looks interesting, at least at this point, but whether it will become the main mode for most people, I doubt.
By the way,
I Go ahead.
I was going to say, since Barry brought up the single player, the World of Light, kind of disappointing.
Yeah, local co-op would have been nice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think people were hoping for that. I guess that is what it is.
Yeah, but you can still play local co-op if you just want to fight against each other, not do the campaigning stuff in the World of Light, but just, have a couple of battles with each other or whatnot.
Mm.
Yeah.
No, I mean that. Well, yeah, but we're talking about that
Just a
World of
single.
Light specifically. I mean, there's no real co-op mode of any kind, right? In Smash, it's unless you have team battle.
Right. That's kind of a technicality, but yeah, I guess you're right. Yeah, it's a
Right? I
shame.
mean, it's not an adventure game. Same thing as Arms, right? Arms, it's just like, here you go, here's your fighting game. Well, what else you got? Like, there's nothing else to this but just the core fighting game, and that's it. Like, that worked in the Street Fighter 2 era 20 years ago on the Super Nintendo guys. Nowadays, you got to give us a little more for our money. So, okay, here's your single player mode, bolt it on. We'll see how, I don't know. I'll play
We'll
it.
see. We'll see. Yeah.
I'll probably hate it.
I think it'll do well. I think Smash Period is going to do much better than anything else, at least in the last year.
Yeah, I think it'll do really good. Now, will it be really good? I don't know.
That's true.
Everyone play it.
Yeah.
Yeah, you've played it. You know how it's going to be.
Yeah.
I think it'll get a good start, and then depending how good it is, especially in things like the World of Light campaign and whatnot, that will determine how far it goes beyond its launch in terms of being a success.
That's a good point.
Of all the titles they've had since their launch window, it seems to me the most likely one to sort of crack their top 5 or whatever of their newer releases.
Yeah, I agree. It's definitely got to do better than I think it will do much better than the Pokemon game, and I think it definitely will do better than Super Mario Party and Mario Tennis Aces. I think the next financial results briefing will definitely be a lot of Smash numbers, and I think it will be definitely in addition to the see what else are the other games: Mario Odyssey, Legend of Zelda, Mario Kart 8, and Splatoon 2. So I guess that'll probably make a top 5. So.
Yeah, it's got to surpass ARMS and 1-2 Switch, which I think are sort of the
That's
5-6 right about now.
Yeah,
I think it'll definitely pass Splatoon. That's pretty much a given. It's just got the recognition.
I think so.
Right.
The only things it won't, and I assume it'll pass Mario Party even. The only things I don't think it's going to pass are Mario, Zelda, and Mario Kart. It's right. The usual suspects every console, same old stuff.
I really think it will. I think it'll probably surpass Odyssey. I think it'll be in that third spot.
I don't know, man.
Odyssey's sitting number 1 right now.
Oh, is it sitting? Oh, is it sitting number 1? Well, maybe it'll play.
Oh, did it pass Zelda? Yeah, that's right. I think you're right.
Or is Mario Kart number 1? I get mixed up. But
Mario Kart's 2,
I think Odyssey is number 1.
I don't know. Well, and I guess it'll depend too on how many new Switches they sell, and how many of the older games they continue to pass along.
Yeah, and if they're bundling in Mario Kart 8 now, at least with a limited number of consoles, that'll give that one a shot in the arm too.
Definitely. Alright, well, there's another topic, and this is something I hope we can go into maybe more in depth sometime, and that is pre-sale trends for Pokemon and Smash. And according to Reggie, the quote is, "They are tracking to the best we've ever seen on Nintendo Switch." Now, I would have to say, just to follow up that quote, how many other pre-sales have they had on Nintendo Switch?
Well, they were taking pre-sales for Splatoon 2. I'm sure they had them for when the Switch launched for Zelda and whatnot as well, and probably Odyssey. Most of their major titles have probably been available as pre-sales. How much that was pushed, I don't know.
Yeah, we've entered this era of pre-sale everything, it seems. I mean, just like we saw with the Smash Direct, pre-buy our DLC. Of course, that's nothing really new, but I don't know, I think it's becoming a big thing. Go ahead, I'm sorry to interrupt.
Well, here's another thing about it is every pre-sale they have for a game should do better than every previous pre-sale for a game, providing that more people have the console.
That's a good point.
Right, a comparable thing. So that's kind of a rolling number that's always going to keep getting higher as there's more people with Switches every time Nintendo launches a big game. So, that's just Reggie spinning the numbers.
That's true. And that's what Reggie is great at, is spinning numbers.
That is what he is paid to do.
Yep. All right. We also talked about Classic Edition consoles, and I know this is something that Z is very involved in. So
no idea what you're talking about.
No idea. There was no talk before the podcast. There was no talk in previous episodes.
And if you see any glitches in the Twitch stream here and there on the video, that has nothing to do with me hacking the Mini.
He is not uploading or adding content.
I'm not doing anything. You were saying.
Yeah. So anyway, as Reggie said, talking about the Classic Edition consoles, we were clear when we did the first two Classic series that for us these were limited time opportunities that were a way for us as a business to bridge from the conclusion of the Wii U as a hardware system to the launch of the Nintendo Switch. That was
Bullshit.
Yeah.
Sorry, go ahead.
And the last line is that was the very strategic reason we launched the NES Classic system.
That was the very strategic reason. Like, you're the worst liar ever, Reggie. Obviously, there was nothing strategic about that. You were scrambling because the Wii U was failing. So you put the NES Classic out early. I think that may be why there were stock issues. Maybe they really didn't. Maybe it wasn't bogus, right?
Right.
Maybe they put it out before they really had stock ready because they're like, crap, we need something for this Christmas, and we got nothing. Because the Wii U sucks. They were going to have Zelda for that Christmas, and they didn't because they were going to push it because of the Switch launch. So they decided they had to have something for that Christmas. We're going to put out the NES Mini. They probably were planning to put it out the following year, and they pushed it up early. But there was no strategy to that. That was scrambling. No. That was desperate actions.
Yeah, I think out of all the times Nintendo has cried shortage, I think that is one time they had a legitimate excuse. I think, like you were saying, they were definitely getting something out there to sell.
Yeah, they had to have something on shelves to keep people talking about them at Christmas. Yeah. Even though they only had 20 of them to sell, which was apparently the case.
Yeah.
All right, of course, he goes on to talk about sort of the future of the classic systems, and he says, "We've also now been very clear that as the consumer looks forward to engaging with our classic content, that is going to happen more and more with a subscription service." And he continues to say about Nintendo Switch Online, "We haven't even made the full library of NES games available yet."
And they never will.
Yeah, that's what it feels like.
And we did a little quick math. Like, there's 700 and something NES games released, licensed, official. At how many games a month? 2 games a month?
3.
3 games a month? 3 games a month. So 36 games a year. Yeah, you're getting into like 18, 19 years to release the full NES catalog. Then they're going to get to Super Nintendo. You know,
So you
I'll
can,
be retired. I might be dead by then.
yeah, if you have a small child now, you can look forward to when they reach adulthood, they can play the full catalog of NES games on Nintendo Switch Online.
My great grandchildren will be around to see this.
Indeed, they will.
Something to look forward to.
May not be around to see Nintendo, but
It's true.
And they'll sell you a special promotion to buy a Rob the Robot Mini to play the games with that require it, or some of the other peripherals.
dude, if they sold a Rob, Mini that actually worked with a modern, um, you know,
Console.
flat screen television. Well, right. The whole thing with Rob was he was set up. He looked at a CRT, and so he picked up video signals from the game. So he doesn't work. The same thing with same as the light gun. He doesn't work with a modern television and HDTV because they were all dependent on that CRT technology. So if they were to remake Rob modern with a modern photo sensor that could actually watch a modern television and play the same 2 games that were ever released for him, that would be pretty cool. They only ever released 2 games for that thing. Total gimmick. 100% gimmick.
That's what Nintendo's great at.
Yeah.
And that's what I love them for.
And then there's the host of other games that might have, copyright issues to try and re-release, or rights holder issues. So there's a bunch of them that'll probably never see the light of day.
And Mo points out that Rob can send wireless signals these days instead of, but that defeats the purpose. That's no fun.
I don't. That kind of brings up an interesting idea that I hadn't thought about before. Do you think we will see more things along the lines of the NES controllers that we got this year? I mean, do you think it'll be a yearly incentive, or do you think we'll see other things come out eventually? Old accessories kind of reimagined for the Switch.
The Power Glove.
Right. That's totally what I was thinking of.
Yeah, it's just a glove that you put a Joy-Con in.
Ooh.
Virtual Boy. Hey, you know what? Switch could totally do, like, the resolution on the Virtual Boy was low. I bet the Switch, that would work. Yeah, you could make a little Virtual Boy accessory that you just drop your Switch into. It's just like a VR headset that you strap to your face, right? Like the Google Cardboard or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
But it's a Virtual Boy, an actual Virtual Boy. You could drop a Switch into it. That's totally doable.
Yeah,
that's
I can see that working.
100% doable. I don't know if Nintendo would do it, but it's just weird enough they might.
And they could make the Labo version for people who want to have it out of cardboard instead of plastic.
There you go.
Oh, yeah, and as Mo points out, all of this stuff will henceforth only be available to Nintendo Online service subscribers.
Of course.
At an obscene price.
Yeah. Which you can pre-purchase.
Sight unseen.
Yep.
Yeah, the pre-purchase. That's the thing that's funny is, right. I admit I pre-purchased those. So like, just out of the gate, I dropped, and I bought the family plan for the wife. So just out of the gate,
wow,
I dropped damn near $100 on Nintendo's online service for nothing. I got nothing to show for it until Christmas when I get those controllers. But right, that's like, that was extra cash. Like they wanted to get as much cash out the gate all at once as they could to dump on infrastructure. So I do believe they're doing that. Back to, how Switch is going to play, or how Smash is going to play when it comes out. I do believe that they're taking all this money, from people pre-ordering those stupid controllers and paying for an online service that basically provides zilch. I do believe they are dumping all that money into infrastructure backbone for the online services, and that, knock on wood, Smash is going to be the big out for, right? That's going to be the big launch of. So I think they're going to be around December, mid-December. They very much hope to be touting how great their online service is for Smash. They know they can't screw that up. They know they can't. They should know they can't.
When did they start? What generation did they start incorporating online play into their main titles?
DS. Oh, yeah, DS, right? Was the official Mario Kart DS? Was that the first online game, or was that just the first one under like the Nintendo Online flag?
That's a really good question.
I don't know for sure.
If I remember, I'm pretty sure. I'd have to do some googling, but I believe Mario Kart DS was their first. It was definitely their first major online title with online
Yeah.
play.
You know,
Because I start wondering
Mo
if
brings up the GameCube modem, but did Nintendo have any titles that used it?
F-Zero.
Titles now.
F-Zero, right?
That was one or two.
F-Zero
Wasn't it?
X, you could whoa. F-Zero, oh, GX? No, I never. Couldn't play that online. Could you? Oh, you could network up multiple. That's not really online though.
No.
If Mo argues differently, I will agree with Mo. But right, you could network GameCubes together for F-Zero. I don't think you could play online in any capacity. Yeah.
I just remember that's around
You can argue with me later.
I just remember that's around the time that came out. All of that was sort of in that, and I also had that special disc that had the Fire Emblem special content that you could use with the Game Boy player and the demo of F-Zero. I just remember that sort of period of time when that was going on. That's what first come to my mind.
because even with the Game Boy and stuff, you had link cables to connect systems.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm just wondering with these legacy content, assuming they do get beyond the NES at some point, at what stage they could actually have games releasing under their legacy umbrella that would have online connectivity that they could use with the online system. So you could play Smash Melee or whatever against other players online. They've started working it into some of the NES games, but which games, had it more generically built into them to start with, other than just watching somebody play and clapping or whatever it is.
Right.
That were standard multiplayer to begin with.
Yeah.
Or simultaneous multiplayer anyway.
Yeah, like
some type or other.
Like the balloon fight, except more meaning that way.
I guess when I think about looking back at gaming, multiplayer became much more of a thing with like the age of Street Fighter 2. Am I thinking right when fighting and Mortal Kombat when those became popular?
You know what? And around the same time on the PC side of the house, things like Doom were coming up. Right around the same time. Right, the multiplayer shooters and the multiplayer fighting games, I think, were both kind of hitting their stride around the same period. And so that just kind of was pushing the industry that direction.
I remember lots of play, a little bit with sort of the Tetris with friends, but the big one I remember was the first Mario Kart. We would get together and play, battle mode against each other. And of course, one-on-one battle mode was a very different experience.
Era. That's true. Very true. Mario Kart was getting its start. Mario Party was getting its start. Well, a little later, right?
Yeah, that was later.
But
Mario Kart was Super Nintendo, right?
Yeah, that was Super NES.
Mario Party wasn't until N64, huh?
Yeah, that's the first one I remember. That was around the same time as Smash. That was kind of that time frame.
True. Smash was late to the fighting game party.
It's very
right. Nintendo kind of jumped the shark with it. Sorry, go ahead.
I don't know. It's just an interesting thought pattern about that. When did multiplayer really become a thing? Interesting. All right. Well, reeling it back into Reggie. and of course, he has some comments on development too, and all that money that you give him for Nintendo Switch Online. What he says they're doing with it. What I would say is clearly our development focus is on Nintendo Switch. You look at the plethora of content we've launched, the plethora of content we've announced. That is clearly where our development focus is.
On plethora.
Plethora. Yeah, that's his word of the day. I picture him like having a word of the day calendar and like looking at it and it's like plethora. I'm gonna write a speech about this.
Yeah, this is my buzzword.
Yep, that's exactly how it sounds.
But it's just, right, a plethora of, sorry to say, mostly crap. Right? We all kind of agree with that.
They're claiming that they're just, from this quote you'd think, man, they're just really working hard on the Switch. They're really putting development into bringing things out on Switch, but it's got so much stuff that's out and so much stuff coming. But then it's like, okay, the stuff that we've launched recently, 3 games, 4 games? Yeah.
Impressive, guys.
I'm just blown away.
You know, I don't know how broad Mario is as a series or a franchise. You've had Mario Odyssey, you've had Mario Kart 8, you've had Mario Tennis, you've had Mario Party. There's 4 titles there, and 2 of them this year. There have been 3 Labo titles this year. So, just on this year basis, there have been more Labo titles than there have been Mario titles. It's interesting.
Yeah.
Well, I never really thought of Mario as a. Well, I guess on some consoles there was a Mario title every other day. But right, in most cases, Mario's are few and far between.
Yeah, but
And technically, we had Pokemon Quest before we had Pokemon Eevee and Pikachu, so there's sort of 3 titles or 2.5. I don't know. There.
A plethora of Pokemon titles.
Yeah.
Easy, Reggie.
Yeah, we've had a plethora of really nothing else. We had a plethora of Bethesda games. We had a plethora of Capcom releases. And that's about it as far as third parties go.
If he wants to talk about plethora, he really needs to talk about those Arcade Archive games. Those Neo Geo titles. There are a plethora of those.
That's a plethora. Good call, man.
Ubisoft has had a few as well.
Yep. He certainly has a way of spinning it. But yeah, I'm always glad to see a Reggie interview because you know it's just going to be gold all the way through. But anyway, of course, if you it is great quotes. Of course, if you want to check out those interviews, like I said, those are on Kotaku's website and also on The Verge. So I encourage you to go look them up if you need more Reggie. It'll help you get through the holiday season. Trust me. Alright, well, speaking of Pokemon being one of the major titles coming out, we've mentioned earlier that news came out on launch day in Japan. Nintendo stock dropped 9.1%. Now, some people have immediately commented saying it's not the Pokemon Let's Go launch that's caused it to drop. It's Nvidia wasn't doing well. No, it sure didn't help. They're saying...
Right? Nintendo's, whatever's going on the back end, whatever the excuse is, like, that Pokemon should prevent that from happening.
Yeah.
The launch of a new Pokemon game. That's bad news, man. None of us bought it, right?
No.
No. I have a lot of friends on my Switch, though, that have it.
I have not checked my friend list because I don't want to lose respect for people.
I think a lot of it's just people want a new Pokemon game.
Yeah.
And they'll take whatever they can get.
Yep, exactly.
You know, I've heard that it's fun.
Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
So I've heard that it's fun. There's a few people on my list that have picked it up too. There's a couple of things about it that I find interesting, and I'm sure if I got into it, it would be enjoyable, but I don't think it brings enough to the table to warrant a purchase this time. That said, I've put my name in a draw. If I can get one for free, I'll take it.
Yeah, same here.
Yeah,
You
same
know,
here.
and it would bug me that I wouldn't have the little Pokeball accessory just to try out with it, even if I won a code or something, or got, one given to me somewhere. But I don't know. It seems like they've really pigeonholed it in some ways because it's designed to work with Pokemon Go. I never played Pokemon Go. It's designed to use motion controls, and while I wouldn't mind trying out the little Pokemon ball, I probably just end up playing it in handheld mode most of the time. It's got a lot of gimmicks to it but I find it interesting what I've heard about how they've revamped how some of the mechanics work, and from that point of view, I wouldn't mind trying it. But there's so much on both sides that I'm not willing to jump in at this point.
I will admit that it is. I'm seeing the Pokemon Go YouTubers starting to cover it. Doing playthroughs and covering information about it. I haven't watched much of it, but I have seen some of it, some of the gameplay, and some of the mechanics of how it works with Pokemon Go. And before I watched the videos, I thought, I've put serious hours into Pokemon Go, and I would, here's like a game that interacts with it. Why am I not on board with this? And then I watched the videos about it, and it's just like the more I learn about this game, the less I like it. Kind of the big thing for me today was the finding out about how the friend park works in the game, which is how you transfer Pokemon from Pokemon Go into Pokemon Let's Go. And I found out that's a one-way trip, and you cannot send Pokemon from Let's Go into your Go game, and that once you've transferred them, they're gone. And
That's how transferring has always worked in Pokemon, though. You know that.
yeah, I should have known, but yeah.
So you can't put them back into.
No, you can't trade anything you've caught in Let's Go to Pokemon Go, and you can't trade anything back after you've sent it to Pokemon Go. And there are certain limitations. Any kind of event Pokemon or special Pokemon cannot be sent.
Is it also still limited to the Generation 1 ones as well?
Yep. And it does not include Mew. So if you were just really wanting to complete your Pokedex in Pokemon Let's Go, this would be an option to do that. But as far as I can see, the only benefit you get is getting that little box sent to Pokemon Go that allows you to catch a Meltan for a period of time in the wild. So
something just occurred to me. I'm sure you guys will agree. They're probably going to add the rest of the Pokemon generations as free DLC gradually.
Oh, no. I don't think it's going to be free DLC. I think we're going to see Pokemon Let's Go, Chikorita, and Cyndaquil. Yep.
Mm-hmm.
I think we're going to see a Gen 2 Let's Go game, and then I think we'll see.
Well, no, maybe they, just as a side note, maybe we would have if these weren't terrible.
Yeah.
I don't think we're going to see any of that.
Yeah.
Everyone I know that's played it loves it.
Huh?
I have.
How old are they?
They're all grown-ups. Well, I've read reviews where they didn't like it. I haven't heard anything from people that play it that actually don't.
Are they grown-ups that
love Pokemon?
Never mind. Yeah, okay.
Well, let's get into this, our next topic here, and that is some of the reception that the game has received. On Metacritic, it had a critic review of 81, but it is the worst user-reviewed Pokemon game. Its fan review is 4.8 out of 10.
Wow.
And to break that down for you, that's 242 negative reviews, 25 mixed reviews, and 195 positive reviews.
And we can discount half of those positive reviews as fake Nintendo employee reviews. So.
Or people that's going to love it no matter what.
Yeah. Well, they fall into that same category: paid employees or unpaid employees.
Yep. Pokemon YouTubers and Twitch people that want free games from Nintendo. And we also got this other bit of information, and that is Amazon Japan has disabled reviews for Pokemon Let's Go. And their quote is, "Sorry, but we are not accepting reviews for this product due to unusual activity and other reasons. We have limited reviews for this product." And just to remind you all, I know we covered this on the podcast before, Ultra Sun and Ultra Moon were the worst reviewed Pokemon games on Amazon Japan ever. So, wow.
Wow.
Mo says he's heard it's good. You say you've heard it's good, Max. I don't know. I'll reserve judgment. Maybe I'll end up picking it up,
Okay,
but I doubt it.
Japanese Amazon doing that makes me wonder, does Nintendo own Japanese?
Well, you gotta.
Does Japanese Amazon own Nintendo would be a more likely question.
Well, I think business relationships in Japan are much different than the United States. I think they kind of.
Yeah, they do all sorts of weird
Yeah.
crossover marketing campaigns and stuff that we don't ever see here.
Well, I mean, and look what Nintendo did to Amazon in France. When was it France that had problems where they were selling Switches at a discounted price, and they cut off their supply? So, yeah, I'd say President Furukawa called over, the president of Japan. Hey, Uncle so and so, could you help me out? So, I found that just really shocking. I don't know. As a Pokemon Go player and as a longtime Pokemon fan, it does not appeal to me. But if you are having fun with it, good for you.
Yeah.
A real modern updated Pokemon, that's still what I want. That's what everyone wants.
Yep.
Pokemon, not necessarily an MMO, but an MMO-like.
Something different.
Well, speaking of the Ultra Sun and Moon, I feel like every store here still has like at least 10 of each.
Yep.
For sale.
Now, I do not know many people who bought that. I can think of maybe one person. Of course, I don't check my 3DS friend list to see who's playing what, but I can think of maybe one person who's bought that I know of.
By the way, does anyone know what Mo's talking about with the paid DLC character for Mew?
Oh, because of the Pokeball, you happen to have the Pokeball.
Oh, and you get the. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I bet it works the same way in every other Pokemon game, where if you really want, you can just keep resetting and get the Mew you want.
No, after you've transferred it, if you reset your game, your Mew is gone. So, yep. That's been a big article going around.
Huh.
I suppose maybe you could put it back in the Pokeball first. Could you?
And then
I don't.
sit on it for a few hours and see if it hatches.
Well, I don't know how that would work. Well, if you put it back in your Pokeball, when you went back to transfer it, because this has kind of come up with Pokemon trading before, I think. If you try to transfer it to a new game and it's not the original game it come from, it won't match up and it'll just give you an error. Pretty sure.
So it really is. It really is a
Yeah.
one-shot thing, and there's no way to reset and do it again.
Yep.
That seems difficult to believe, but I'll go with you guys. And as Mo points out, no cloud saves either.
Yep.
Yeah. Well, the Pokebank, can you put like Pokemon from the app in there? Or?
I haven't heard any compatibility announced with those with anything outside of Pokemon Go.
The Pokemon Bank, the app for the 3DS, that only works with 3DS Pokemon games.
Oh, okay.
So, yeah.
There's no way to access it otherwise as of yet. They talked about when it launched that it would be accessible via, the idea was you'd be able to access it via online, because remember they had all those web-based Flash games and stuff like that.
the dream
The
world.
idea is you'd be able to go manage your Pokemon and do stuff, interact with them in some fashion or other, either your phone or online or whatever, but none of that seemed to materialize. And now it hasn't materialized for this. We'll see with, next year's big Pokemon game, the mainline supposedly one. I assume they'll bring that over because, hey, they're getting $5 out of me every year. I'm sure I'm not the only one.
And
Oh, yeah.
they really needed something like that. And that was, if you could trade Pokemon back and forth with Let's Go, having something in there that would serve as a sort of bank for Pokemon Go would be nice, especially right now with the new Gen 4 Pokemon launching, and they have not increased the box storage. And I know myself, like many other players, are at maximum level and are trading off Pokemon just to be able to continue to catch Pokemon. But that would be very appetizing to me to have a place to store them. I hope they do something like that, but especially for a Switch game, I mean, it's about time.
Yeah, welcome to the 21st century, Nintendo.
Yep.
We've been waiting for you for 18 years.
There is one other little topic I wanted to bring up here. It's not really a little topic, but one that I thought was perhaps the saddest part of this. This comes from an article from Kotaku UK. So people who have disabilities and wish to play Pokemon Go, or Pokemon Let's Go rather, due to forced motion controls, some people are not physically able to play the game because there's no way to play it with just button presses, and some people can't hold the actual gamepad itself to play it. So it's really sad, and I have a feeling that affects more people than we realize.
I think, well, there's also just a lot of people that just hate motion controls.
Yeah.
I'm not one of them. I love them, but I know there's, you know what I mean? Everybody wants a non-motion control option, always. And there's always going to be, some kids that can't.
Yeah.
Yeah, why can't they have both? That would be an option instead of required.
Yeah. Yeah, it would be nice. I don't know, Nintendo is big on, giving us games and then telling us how to play the games. After a while, that gets to you.
Right. It's Splatoon.
Yeah.
You can't remap buttons. Like, right, they've always been like, here you go. You get what you get. You have two options, right? Every other game on every other console, there's all sorts of custom settings you can put, for music, for lighting, sound, whatever. Nintendo, no. This is it. And I get the idea. It's like we have created a piece of art. We intend for it to be displayed this way. I get it, but it is kind of annoying sometimes.
Yeah, definitely. And you keep hoping after things like Star Fox Zero not doing well, people complaining about that, and then hopefully people are complaining about Pokemon. Hopefully sometime Nintendo will catch on in years, because they work in the very long term. They'll actually fix this, but we'll see. Alright, so talking about the future, as Reggie mentioned earlier, we did get some information, oddly enough, already about E3 2019. So for the first time in 24 years, the big news is that Sony will skip E3. They say they just don't have the content to show. So Microsoft is still going and said they will be the only of the major three companies to do a live presentation. And of course, as soon as this went out, Nintendo is right on there with Reggie saying, "Of course we're going because we want to spread."
So bringing up E3 is probably not the. But we've been hearing for years that E3 is becoming less and less of a thing.
Mm-hmm.
So Sony just packing up and going home is, to me, that's kind of a bellwether. I just assume that E3 is going to be partially because of Sony E3. This is sort of a beginning. This is sort of a major beginning of the end kind of moment for E3. What do you guys think? Or is it just a random fluke?
I don't know.
They're just skipping it.
Might be the beginning.
I think it's. I think it.
Things have been shifting for a while. Like Nintendo doesn't do the live presentations anymore, but it's still there. I think things are changing, but I think there'll still be some call for it for a while yet.
I've noticed a growing trend in that even smaller corporations, smaller development companies,
want to find something. Oh, there's nobody selling this. And you can call it innovation, but you can also just call it not wanting to compete. When they compete, they tend to lose. On an even playing field with mega corporations like Sony and Microsoft, right?
Right.
So it's that same kind of mindset of, oh, we'll go. This is where we'll go instead.
Yeah, it's definitely times are changing. So, if you've been following Nintendo news lately, there is another major story that's been going on, and it's kind of embarrassing for Nintendo, and you feel very unfortunate for. It's very unfortunate for certain fans, and we were of course talking about Nintendo of Russia's CEO. And I wasn't even aware that there was a Nintendo of Russia prior to this.
Yeah. I wasn't either.
But their president, Yasha Hadaji, actually, during a live stream of a Mario Kart tournament, was basically seen in the background. And of course, you can check all that on YouTube and other places, saying various swears and calling people names, interrupting the live stream, being very disrespectful, and losing his temper. And it went on for quite a long period of time. If you haven't seen it, it's definitely worth watching because it's just shocking that it actually has happened. And thankfully, the people of Russia, Nintendo fans, have spoke up and said, he's messing things up for us here. Please, Nintendo of Europe, please come and help us. We need someone to intervene. From what I understand, he even did not order copies of Pokemon Let's Go Eevee because he believed that version of the game just simply wouldn't sell. So there's issues like that going on.
Dude, this sounds perfectly sane for Russia. Like, this guy should be in Putin's cabinet.
Yeah, I guess so.
Yeah, I was a little surprised to hear about someone in a major company behaving like that.
You've seen Russian. You've seen. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
I also said that when he would attack or yell at some of the employees and tell them that they couldn't leave, so he'd make sure they couldn't work again, and so they have to stay.
Yeah. Yeah. After this came out and kind of got some attention, several different accusations have come out. Some regarding sexual harassment, abusing employees, like Max is talking about, and just different things like that. But Nintendo of Europe has issued a statement, which basically is just saying we're aware of what's happened and we're looking into it, and this doesn't represent our company, but we don't have any comment.
Oh, they're like a subdivision of Nintendo of Europe?
I don't know for sure, but that's who the fans were appealing to, was Nintendo of Europe to help. So,
okay. So maybe maybe that's Europe and white Asia is all kind of part of the same thing. Yeah, man, you guys have seen Russian dash cams. This guy's totally sane.
Yeah. For Russia.
Yeah.
He's still behaving inappropriately. I've heard Europe has known about it for a couple of years.
Oh, really? There's been previous incidents with this dude?
Yeah, they've told him, and Nintendo of Europe didn't do anything, or hasn't said anything, hasn't done anything, just kind of sweep under the rug.
At least he's not molesting little boys or anything like that we know of.
That's the best thing you can say about someone.
Yeah.
It's not the good.
Hey, it's right. You try to find the positive.
But you have to feel really bad for these people who just want to play Nintendo games, but they've got somebody that's messing things up for them basically and making them look bad.
The little boys. Oh, yeah, never mind.
Yeah, I wonder how much money they're losing out on because of how he's running things.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Well, right. Haven't there been over the past couple of years? We see like weird pictures of weird bundle ads and stuff like that out of Russia that look very like half-assed, like somebody stuck, uh, you know, box art together and said, "Here, this is what we're selling. This is our bundle."
I don't
I'm not the
remember.
only one that remembers this.
I think there might have been one or two. Don't remember specifics, but I seem to recall hearing something like that out of the.
I remember seeing some really ghetto-looking bundles and adverts, and they all came out of Russia. Oh well, I guess maybe I'm crazy.
Since we have Barry here, this would be a good point to ask this question. Is there a president of Nintendo of Canada? I always assumed it was just Reggie was a general North America president.
I think there. I don't know. You don't hear about him if there is. Um, there might be someone who heads it up, and I kind of expect there is. But
Right.
again, he's not in the media much, so um, I couldn't tell you who it was.
And is he subservient to Reggie? Is the real question.
I expect so, and I expect that's probably what the situation over in Europe is with Russia, is that you've got heads for the different regions and countries and language groups, but they're all sort of under the one bigger umbrella of Nintendo Europe. That's what I expect.
Yeah, that would make
one
sense.
of those heads
Yeah.
is gonna roll.
Yeah. Well, yeah. Hopefully Nintendo will jump on this. I would assume they would want to save face and do this.
They
But
love bad PR. Yeah, they're gonna nip this one as quickly as possible.
yeah. All right.
Interesting to watch anyway.
Yeah. Yeah. Hopefully we'll get more information on this soon. And I don't think we have any Russian followers or watchers here. If we do, we wish you all the best. Hope you get somebody passionate in there. Someone like Reggie Fils-Aime. Not you can't have Reggie, but someone just like him. Perhaps he has a brother.
A Russian Reggie.
A Russian Reggie. I would love to see a Russian Reggie.
That's the last thing they want is a Russian Reggie, man. That'd be like a large Yakov Smirnov.
Yeah, I wish Mo was here because I know he would have an accent to go with that.
Oh yeah, he could probably pull off a Yakov Smirnov. Right, that guy had like basically the same lines over and over and over again, just like Reggie.
It is.
They get stale after too long.
Now, Reggie's expanding his vocabulary with words like plethora. But,
Yeah, that was seriously. I wonder if taking like vocabulary therapy classes or something. Maybe he's listened to like books on tape. Plethora.
Yeah. More likely he just watched the Three Amigos or something.
Oh, there you go. That's a good old reference. I haven't seen that one in years.
That's
I haven't either.
that's good stuff.
That's something I saw in theaters with my buddies.
Like
And we went back to school, and all through recess for the rest of the week, we were doing the
My Little Buttercup.
No, the turn and toss thing. Right.
I don't remember much else from that movie, but I do remember the little. I don't know if it's not really a dance, but whatever you would call that.
It's kind of the proto Macarena.
It is.
But then it ends like a doctor's physical, which is a little weird.
Yeah.
Yeah, but there was a section in there where they were talking about a plethora of pinatas, so that's probably.
Oh, that's yeah, yeah. I remember. I can picture Steve Martin in my head saying plethora. I think it was Steve Martin.
Just picture.
It was the main villain, I think, actually, whatever his name was, El Guapo.
Oh, El Guapo. You know what foreplay is? No. Good. Neither does El Guapo.
Oh,
And Jefe, his assistant, then, or whatever his name was.
Yeah, that would be. That would all be considered probably very racist today by millennial standards.
Oh, more than likely.
Probably.
you all have painted this picture of Reggie sitting on a plane, flying back from Japan, and writing this speech, or writing, you know, writing up
Flying back
quotes,
from Russia.
flying back from Russia, and it's like all they've got to watch is the Three Amigos, and it's like, plethora, yeah.
They don't pay to fly Reggie to Japan. They no, they video conference his ass. They don't. They're not going to buy him a plane ticket to Japan. He gets a plane ticket to Japan once a year for the company Christmas party or whatever it is. That's all he
Years.
gets. Right, and it's not ANA, it's JAL. Sorry, that's the cheaper airline.
No private plane.
No, dude, he gets his own boat. He gets a raft. No, he gets a flight, but it has like layover, you know, in Hawaii, but you don't get to leave the airport.
Just long enough to get off the plane and wait for a long time, but not long enough to actually go anywhere.
Long enough to go sit on a hard plastic chair for like 8 hours till your ass hurts, but not actually get out of the airport.
It's got to be economy so that he can be seen with the switch in the public and in the
That's
airport
true.
and all the rest of it.
But then again, you got to have enough leg room to actually be able to play the stupid thing. Like I tried, like in economy on a flight, trying to play that thing on your little lap thing, your little lunch counter.
Tray table.
That's it's pretty. Thank you. It's pretty impossible, or it's very difficult. It's awkward and a very hunchy experience. Now, if you could hang it on the back of the seat, like where most of the planes have their actual TVs now, that would be a whole other experience. But hunched over your tray table is no way to play that thing. It's better just to hold it. Random point of note.
But now, when you're on your layover in Hawaii, you sit up on a table in the middle of the waiting area.
Play Just
Yeah.
Dance 2019.
Yeah. Anywhere more than 6 feet away is like, what's that say?
Now I'm picturing Reggie in Hawaii in the airport playing 1-2 switch. I'm eating a sandwich. Yeah.
You know what? The step they missed.
I want a commercial of this.
Maybe it was too hard to pull off. But the step they missed is they need to have a dongle like a Chromecast that you can plug into a TV, and then the dock needs to be wireless or have wireless HDMI. Maybe they'll have a new, a modern one of those. Because that does exist. There is wireless HDMI these days. So if they could do something that made it just a little bit easier to bring over to your friend's house, you don't have to worry about a cable. You just plug in the dongle. You have a battery-powered dock that hooks up wirelessly to the TV. You don't have to plug it in. That would be huge, and that technology does exist. I would like to see that in a hardware refresh of the dock going in a totally random direction. Just saying.
Yeah, that would be good. Make it a lot easier.
Right, the projector kind of does the same thing. You just don't need the TV. Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Or better yet, you don't need the dongle really necessarily, because you can cast stuff to your television theoretically. I don't know how that all works. Yeah, you need the dongle. modern TVs can do it. Like there's an app for Steam on modern Samsung TVs, so you don't need the Steam box to stream anymore on your network. You just download the app on a Samsung TV. So right, there's some kind of standard. Nintendo could plug into that standard, but Nintendo would go their own route anyway.
I was sort of say they'd never use anything that's standard. It'd have to be some kind of
Well,
obscure.
that said USB-C
Uh,
and Tegra, NVIDIA Tegra, they really kind of did this time.
and yeah. Well, what about that proprietary? Oh no, they don't have proprietary Bluetooth, do they? I'm thinking of something else.
No, yeah, even the Bluetooth, that's right. Even all the controllers and stuff, you can just use like the Bluetooth works. Like I said, the button mapping was a little weird for stuff, but that's just a case of tweaking settings. But the other thing is, if I plug my Pro controller into my PC, just out of the box, no driver, no nothing. I just plug it in, it automatically loads the driver. I can use that as my mouse. The right stick is a mouse, controls the mouse.
Nice.
Like the controller has full 100% just out of the box Windows support. Like everything works as it should for standard Windows stuff. And if you're using like the Xbox, I guess it uses the Xbox One standard plugin that Microsoft has for Windows. So it works. Like it's incredibly standard. And again, the Mini comes with a data cable. Like they're handing it to you saying, "Here, please hack this." So they've kind of gotten on the standard bandwagon these days. That's a major change for them.
Yeah, it is a big improvement.
Since the days of the N64 cartridges and the friggin' GameCube mini discs, right? Seems like they've finally gone all in.
Well, since you're talking about the classic consoles, I guess we should bring up before we close out the new NES games on Nintendo Switch Online. Has anyone played any of them? Oh, by the way, yeah, we got Mighty Bomb Jack, Metroid, and Twin Bee, and then we got Gradius Stage 5 Strongest Version. And
what?
Yeah, and then in Japan, they got a version of Mario Open Golf called Full Open Version. So I don't know.
Okay, this weird Gradius thing is what's going to draw me back into that, because that's like in all my travels of classic video games. What is this Gradius Stage 5 business? Or maybe it is just Stage 5 of Gradius.
I think that's what it is. I'm not super familiar.
You start on Stage 5 with a whole bunch of power-ups, so your ships can shoot extra blasts in different directions or whatnot.
Oh, they basically start you at the end with everything, so you can just beat the boss. I don't remember how many exact stages there were in Gradius, but there was probably only 5 or 6.
It's something like that anyway. I haven't actually tried it, but I looked at it briefly.
I've played.
Okay. Now Zelda, that's one thing. Like, would they give you rupees and whatever? But this is insulting. As somebody who played the living shit out of Gradius as a child and made VHS tapes of playthroughs. Like,
oh wow!
All right, so this is insulting. This is way worse. This is like Zelda starts you like at the in the room before Ganon with everything. Sorry, go ahead, Jason. You were saying.
I have played it a little bit, and since you know Gradius, it's the part where there's like the meteors with the swinging arms that shoot out of the arms.
Yeah, those suck.
Yeah, and I found out very
blow the arms off, but they swarm up on you. Yeah, go ahead.
I found out very quickly if you die, you lose everything, and you just go back. You can continue to play that level, but you're back to the base ship with no power-ups.
Oh yeah, that's the whole Gradius thing. Now here's the trick about the Konami code. I don't know if it works. Did you try it?
I haven't tried it. I thought about it, but I haven't.
Pause and do the Konami code and see if you can get it back. You should be able to. Because here's the way that always worked. In Gradius, you can use that Konami code once per level. So if you if you died during the first level, you had to complete the level with nothing. But as soon as you beat the boss of level 1 and started on level 2, you could pause and put in the Konami code again, and those would
Ah,
stack. As I remember, I'm pretty sure those would stack. So if you got to level 3 or 4 without dying, you could put that code back in 3 more times if you died 3 times. You know what I mean? So
ah.
yeah, I'm pretty sure that was. Oh, and sometimes I would do it just to replenish the shield. Right, that's how I figured out, because there's more levels than you get men. But right, sometimes I'd lose my shield before a boss was coming up. I'd be like, oh crap! So I'd just go pause and put the code back in if I had codes remaining. But yeah, every level gives you an extra time that you can enter that code. So I'm betting you can probably do that. You know what I mean? As many
Yeah.
times as you have men.
Wow. I didn't know that. I thought about it and I thought, I just never thought to use that. I didn't know how it worked. I didn't play much Gradius growing up. Ah.
They work differently in different Konami games. Most of them you had like a second or two period during the intro screen that you had to put in that code real fast. Gradius, though, that one, it's after you start the game, you just pause and put it in, and then unpause and you got it. And as soon as you press the last the last button, the up, down, left, right, BA. As soon as you press A, the shield appears, so you know you got it right.
Nice.
And then you unpause and you're ready to rock.
I'll have to try that.
Yeah, that doesn't give you. I don't think that gives you laser though. I think that's the one thing that you don't have with the Konami code, if I remember correctly. It's been a while.
Well, that's cool. And if I'm not mistaken, isn't the Metroid Special Edition too? Even though I don't think it has a name.
I was speculating on that. I didn't hear that it was. That's one I will put in some legitimate time just to do it, because that's a game I can play through relatively quickly. I might play through it. I probably won't.
And I put
every time I put it on the virtual console, I put a few hours into it. I get to Crate or whatever and beat him, and then I am just meh.
I did play a little bit of Twinbee and Mighty Bomb Jack. This was my first time playing Mighty Bomb Jack. I think I've played Twinbee before. Mighty Bomb Jack is a unusual game. First thing you'll notice when you start is everything is like moon gravity. You jump and you go to the ceiling. But what really got me, and I posted a little clip of this on Twitter, is the enemies just spawn right on top of you sometimes. So if you don't keep moving, it's just like boom, there's an enemy and they drop on you. And then it's like, okay, I'll start over. After about the third time of that, you've had all you want of Mighty Bomb Jack.
That's spectacular game design. Yeah, I remember seeing that box art. Like,
Yeah.
Oh, is this some kind of Bomberman spinoff? Nope. It just sucks.
You pick up bombs. That's like the gold coins, from Mario as bombs. But I can't really tell that you do anything with them. You just collect them. There's no explosions. You just pick up bombs.
And avoid bad guys.
And avoid bad guys, which look a lot like the Zelda bad guys. Like the little flashing skeletons.
This sounds like a winner.
Yeah. You should definitely go check it out if you haven't. You've got to see that box art at least once in your life. You'll never forget it.
Yeah, someone at Nintendo decided this was worthy of putting out on there.
And what, the third month of it, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
We're getting 2 new games a week.
There should definitely be weekly drops. Every Thursday with the eShop, they should drop a couple,
even one.
eShop updates. They should drop, just 1 or 2, just to get people's attention and drop them to the, oh yeah.
Keep them playing.
Stuff for the Switch. Keep them playing. Get them to go check out have ads that come with it to tell them to go, check out what's on the eShop. I guess there are already ads, but stupid news channel that took them a year to develop.
I'm surprised that some of these, either the titles themselves or the enhanced versions, haven't started popping up for the platinum coins on my Nintendo. you know, that you can get that and it'll either download it to your online or maybe even with that little cord connect your mini to the PC and you can put them on there. Either
Ooh,
or.
Something.
that is a really interesting idea.
Nintendo Switch, that's the phone app, dude. That's the way to do it.
I would be quite happy if Nintendo Switch phone app you could play these NES games, even if it didn't have online multiplayer. If I could just play them.
Yeah.
I still think the Game Boy thing is coming.
I hope so.
And I think it's a neat idea. I think it's in it's within bounds for Nintendo, and it's I don't know something that's just quirky enough that they'd be like, yeah, we're gonna do that. I think that's totally. I really hope that happens.
Since we brought up smartphone gaming, I don't think we ever mentioned this, but I thought this was really interesting. There was a couple of trademarks come out recently from Nintendo, and it was for smartphone game, and one of them was for Legend of Zelda Spirit Tracks, and the other was Mario versus Donkey Kong. So I don't know. The Mario versus Donkey Kong seems very fitting for a mobile game. I don't know how Spirit Tracks would.
Spirit Tracks was all touchscreen based, so yeah, that makes sense too.
That's true.
That's a good point.
I like
Right.
that you can make your notes on the map.
Yeah, that too.
But yeah, that's
What were you saying, Barry?
No, I was just gonna say that yeah, I never played Spirit Tracks myself, but yeah, it was a touchscreen based control scheme, so that I don't know how well it would port over, but theoretically it should sounds like something that should work on a mobile device.
especially if they made like a light version of it or something.
Yeah.
I have to say though, this is kind of stirring up feelings in me because towards Spirit Tracks. Spirit Tracks is my absolute least favorite Zelda game. And
Wait a minute. Try Force Hero.
oh no, oh wow. You're really taking me to dark places now. See, I've blotted that game out of my existence in my mind. But
That's pretty. I mean, I consider that canon, right? That's mainline Zelda, really is.
at first, I thought you were saying it's Ganon, as in it's the devil of the Zelda universe, and yes, it is.
That too,
Ooh,
but no, I mean, right? Triforce Heroes really kind of they really tried to make it a real Zelda game.
they did. They really did.
Like,
Please, Nintendo, do not ever make another one of those games. Do not port it to mobile.
Heroes Mobile.
Oh.
That makes me want to.
No, but they've never given any indication that they're going to allow you to actually interact with anybody over mobile in any more capacity than Miitomo.
Yeah, most of it seems to be more like with the Mario and Fire Emblem Heroes kind of interaction. Like you can see what a friend's doing, or see their characters, or see where they're at in the game.
So that's sort of an interesting thing too, because Triforce Heroes was basically just they took the idea from Four Swords and made it so you could play online to make it easier to play with people. But that basic gameplay concept, I think, originated with the Four Swords titles.
Yeah. I love Four Swords. I thought Four Swords was a fantastic game. But
yeah, but the other thing is, if Four Swords were to be released today, you'd go, oh, "This is cool. I played this." Like, right? And that's basically what they did. Is Four Swords, but it's only going to be 3 swords. But now you can play it online with random strangers who suck. It's like,
yes.
sorry guys, this is not anywhere near enough of an upgrade over the original Four Swords to be at all compelling.
This is the only game I can really think of where a friend asked me to play with them, and then afterwards apologized for asking me to. play this game with them. So thank you
I
for the
apologize,
help.
friends. I apologize to 2 friends for talking them into buying it.
Oh, you talk people into buying it. Oh,
Yeah, man. They forgave me eventually.
you got good friends.
Yeah.
One of them has never ever trusted me again. By the way,
Oh wow.
one of those friends actually, come to think of it, that's right. That was his last video game. The guy who worked at Blizzard, right? The guy who worked at Blizzard for 8 years. That was what made him give up video games.
Oh, wow.
That was the last thing, and he had a heartfelt discussion with me afterwards. He was like, I've played all this crap too many times before. I'm done with it, and that's what put him over the edge, man. And that's worthy.
What a cliff to fall off of. Wow.
That said, he finally did. Speaking of falling off, he did finally just fall off the wagon. He picked up a Switch not too long ago with Mario and Zelda.
Oh, okay.
That's his first. This is his absolute first step back. Like, he swore off video games for a couple of years. He's one of those kind of people. Few years. Wow. When did Triforce Heroes come out? Basically, from Triforce Heroes until a couple months ago, didn't touch not a drop to drink.
No, there's still at least one store here with Triforce Heroes.
Oh yeah, I think it's available, but
My husband pointed out, "Oh, here, do you need that?" Like, no, I have it. I don't need the one.
you didn't yell, "Get that away from me!"
I have it, and I don't need the one I have. Thank you.
You should force him to play it with you online.
No,
He would never ask again.
no.
Try this. Play online. Yeah, take our word for it. We may be negative on some things, and you may not agree with us, but if you have not played Triforce Heroes, you are missing nothing.
I can't think it wouldn't be so bad if you were playing with friends, and you were all talking, so you could talk through it all. It'd be much better.
Yeah. Even Pokemon had voice chat. Like, the wife and I, when we were dating, we used to use Pokemon Black and White voice chat to chat, actual, because you had voice chat when you were in the lobby between battles. Remember?
Right. Yeah.
I think you may have even had it during the battle. Nah, I don't think you did. But yeah, we would totally have phone conversations through Pokemon voice chat on the DS. Well, side note. Anyway.
Oh, that's really kind of romantic there. Pokemon romance.
Right. Nintendo occasionally dips their toe in real online interactivity, but then just immediately next few games, nope, we don't do any of that.
Yep.
Yeah.
The first Nintendo game I remember using voice chat on for Nintendo was Animal Crossing City Folk. There was a little adapter you could get for your Wii.
The Wii microphone.
Yep.
Which I have since hacked, and I used to use it as a speakerphone mic for my PC. You could do that, but you had to cut off the USB connector.
Yeah, my first voice chat game, I guess technically, did Mario Kart DS have that? No. Then it was the one I remember actually using was Animal Crossing Wild World. I actually bought the little Nintendo headset that went over your ear, and I remember sitting at McDonald's playing with random people.
Really? Wow.
I completely forgot about that.
It was a fascinating time.
Was that the only way to do voice chat in that game?
I think so.
Yeah, I think you're right, because at that time I was dating another girl, and we used to play Animal Crossing all the time. But we'd always just talk in chat. If we'd had a way to actually talk verbally, we would have done that. Well, more often anyway. Interesting. I need to scare that accessory out.
But I do remember City Folk as well. remember having that blasting on the TV. But
Wait, what did you say? I
yeah,
understand half of what anyone said.
What? You want me to chop down this tree? No.
I'm just thinking out the keyboard and type.
Yeah.
So it would be random strangers, right? That would just wander into your town and
No, it'd be.
with friends. See, I had a friend of mine that would just get friend codes for her Wii off of that same friend would get friend codes off her Wii for just random strangers from all over the world, and then just chat with them with the video with the microphone app.
Wow.
Yeah, and like trade and whatever and play Animal Crossing, but just random strangers. Sometimes they'd just be totally speaking a foreign language, and she'd be like, "Hi, I can't understand you." But yeah, kind of like how Eric would just call random people on Wii U chat, and that's how he and Mo started talking.
Oh, that how that works.
Yeah, I think you've let out a secret here. So I don't think it's a secret.
I don't think that was a secret. I'm pretty sure Mo had mentioned that before. That Eric just like they had added each other on their friend list, from playing whatever. Was it from Steel Diver or something else? Somewhere on Miiverse
something.
Anyway.
Yeah.
Something on Miiverse. And so they add each other and just randomly, his Wii U's ringing one day, and he decides, okay, I'll answer it. And there's some dude on the video chat. Hey, how you doing?
And look what it did. It spawned a lifelong friendship, no doubt.
Or at least a console generation-long friendship.
That's right. And we all met Eric because of that. So.
Yep. Yeah. Eric was just playing with his new toy. Let's call somebody.
All right.
Anyway.
All right. Well, I'm going to close out.
Off topic.
Yeah, we need to reel it back in. We're going to close off with one sad note here, and that is that official word has come out as of spring of 2019. Prima Games will stop printing strategy guides, as they put it, due to a significant decline. Yep. 28 years of publications, and it's finally coming to an end.
Sorry, due to a significant
Decline. That was just all they said. It was a significant decline.
Yeah, well, no duh, man. You sell books in the age of the internet. I'm sorry.
Well, I used to go to every bookstore I went to, I'd go to the video game section.
Oh, this.
On the plus side, now the retailers won't feel obligated to try to plug the strategy guide for every single game you buy.
By every retailer, you mean GameStop. They're going to have so much counter space now.
Yeah.
Would you like the strategy guide?
Half their store is going to be gone.
They have to find something else.
Fill it with Animal Crossing amiibos.
We could try selling games.
Oh.
I must say, I've gotten a few of those over the last few years, and I've enjoyed them. It gives you something to read when you're not near an internet related to the game you're looking at, especially for the kids. They like, if they want something to read related to the Zelda game they've been playing and enjoying, it's right up their alley, and they can get different items that they can find in it or whatever. I think we picked up. I lose track of because there's other makers who've made these sorts of things too, but I know we've gotten the one for the Ocarina of Time when they remade it for 3DS. We got the one for Majora's Mask. We got the one for Skyward Sword, and we got the one for Breath of the Wild. Especially for the Zelda games, they were popular in our house.
Yeah.
I got a bunch of the old ones collected. And in looking at them, I'm trying to remember. Most of them, it was like I got it either free or super cheap when I bought the game. Is the only reason I have it.
So you used to get a free game guide when you got your yearly subscription to Nintendo Power.
Yeah.
That's true.
And the Nintendo Power game guides were some top-notch writing. That was some good stuff. If you
Oh,
have,
dude, no, I have. What do I have? I have the official Nintendo Player's Guide. I think that came with. I think that was an original launch Nintendo Power uh, item, wasn't it? Or did you have to buy that? Does anyone remember?
I think that was like a Christmas bonus, wasn't it? Like one year
I
didn't, or something.
I do not remember. Maybe it was from Fun Club before Nintendo Power. I don't remember. But I got that. I got the that was when I remember what got me to subscribe, resubscribe after years lapsed was the Super Metroid Player's Guide. That was totally that I paid for another year just for that guide of Nintendo Power. And I used the hell out of that guide, man. Eventually, I don't know. I didn't use it that much.
I mean, it's all. I think
I
it's safe to say that strategy guides have all had a place in our gaming history. We've all used them. We all have some laying around somewhere. But, I know one title, and I'm hoping. I know I'm dreaming and saying this that it's in the time frame, but I will miss having a physical Animal Crossing strategy guide. That is one that I would buy.
Yes.
just for all the fish, like an actual flip through index of all the items, all the fish, all the
Furniture.
All furniture.
Yeah, I agree. That's something when you play Animal Crossing, I've always got way too many tabs open in my web browser.
Yep.
Oh my crap. And so yeah, I would totally appreciate a nice little guide. But then again, I bet there's a nice spreadsheet online somewhere that does the job even better.
Yeah.
I'd
Yeah.
imagine also for Smash, all those spirits and what they do, it would be handy to have some tables to look through to find
That's true.
find that in those days.
Fair enough.
It's very true. Well, it is a passing of an age, and it's sad to think kids very soon will have no idea what a strategy guide is.
Right. I just have to go online for it.
Well, an online strategy guide. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
It's nice having one where you didn't have to be online.
Yeah. Yeah, actually.
You can always print it out.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
It costs way more. All that ink.
But it was nice to just look at sometimes, you know,
Mm-hmm.
especially the Animal Crossing one.
Well, and especially like the Nintendo ones were always nice, arty affairs, right? They had
Yep.
plenty of screenshots and actual like concept art of the characters and all sorts of good stuff.
The writing was always really well done.
Yeah, they weaved story into their strategy guide, right?
Right.
You're explaining instead of just saying go here and do this. Samus has to do, get to this point before yada yada. It's just
There were some I just didn't understand though. Like I remember seeing strategy guides for Mario Kart 8. And I mean, aside from telling you what the different items do and having maps of the tracks and the shortcut, what else is there?
That's a good point.
Yeah, I kind of wondered that too.
Yeah, they could have definitely picked their battles, but I don't know that it would have made a great difference in the long run.
I remember seeing books. I mean, right? There's a sucker born every minute. I remember seeing books for like Pac-Man that were nothing but like screenshots of the board, that were like generic printed, not actual photo screenshot. Just kind of screenshots of the board with like little patterns, like little arrows drawing, go this way, then go that way. But like ghosts are always moving, man. How does this work? And it was just a book full of like that kind of stuff. It was completely useless, right? I remember flipping through it in like a bookstore. Like as a kid, you'd sit in the bookstore and just read something for a half hour. And yeah, it was completely, all those strategy guides for those kind of arcade games. It's like strategy guide for Space Invaders. Shoot the Space Invaders. What the hell do you need? Like, yeah, but they'd sell books of it, man. And I picked up one here and there.
That's always good times. Alrighty. Well, I think it is time to wrap up for the evening before we get too nostalgic. Always want to thank you for watching, and if you haven't noticed, we are now live on Twitch and live on YouTube. So if you've been listening to us through Stitcher or through iTunes, or perhaps even here on YouTube, come check us out. Be sure and sign up for notifications on one or both, and let you know when we're going live. We record on Tuesday evenings, so be glad to have you come join our chat. Of course, we always answer your questions, throw some comments in. So anyway, thanks for watching, and as always, check us out, like I said, on Stitcher, iTunes, Twitch, YouTube, and of course at Twitter at NOA_podcast. So have a happy Thanksgiving for all of our folks here in America, and see you next week.
Happy Thanksgiving.
Party on, folks. Happy turkey.
Have a good night.